At 7:30, I will call the meeting to order, and if Mike Speltz can vote for Tiffany, unless she shows up.
Yep.
First of all, welcome Elkel.
Hi.
Did I say it right?
Yes.
Elkel?
You can call me Elle. It's a little easier.
Okay.
Can you write that down?
Yep. That,
The whole thing.
I'll have to look up the rest of it.
It's Otero Bickford.
I
I know you know
Welcome
it.
aboard, my
Thank you.
dear.
I moved, I live on Beacon Street with my 3-year-old, so I figured, hey, to preserve my town.
Well, I saw you, I've seen you walking upon occasion, but not for a while.
Yeah, I do a different route for my running, yeah.
I will create a list of everybody's
Okay.
personal emails and phone numbers. The reason is sometimes the town email glitches on us and
Okay.
we can't communicate, and it's very frustrating. Plus, to have the cell phone, if we're out monitoring in the woods
Yeah.
and you are trying to find somebody and you can't, it's really good to have their
Okay.
cell phone number.
Perfect.
So I will ask you for your email afterwards.
Okay.
Because they didn't want to give it to me.
Okay.
But for you, we have gifts. It's
Oh.
a job description for.
My homework?
Well, it's some light reading.
You've got 2 weeks.
We came up with a job description to give
Okay.
you kind of an idea of what we
Perfect.
do. And then the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions created a manual on what do conservation commissions do.
Okay.
And that's got something stuck in it, so I don't know what I left in that book, but there's something in there.
I can see if I miss it.
Yeah.
It's probably a little pamphlet. Yes, it's a little,
Oh,
yeah,
nice
perfect.
bookmark. There you go. All right, so if you want to go around and say who's who,
Sure. Just our names. Or
yeah.
do we
Whatever.
want fun facts?
Fun facts are good, yeah.
Oh, that's stressful because I hadn't thought of one.
Okay, you don't have to, we can fun fact on another day.
Okay. I'm Susan Malowin, and I am as of last week, a new alternate member, but I have been on the commission for 5 years, I think.
Time flies.
I'm Elkel or Elle. This is my first day. Fun fact, I'm a nurse and emergency room nurse at most. And I have a 3-year-old son, and I run around all of Londonderry, so that's my thing.
Mike Speltz, I am not the oldest member of the commission, at least not the longest serving. But I found out that when I got sworn in recently, I think I've been on now for 28
Oh, really?
years or something like that.
Wow. Yeah.
I think I started like 93 or 4 or 5, something like that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so I have a history at the Forest Society in my earlier life. That's me.
David Heafy, I have about 3 years on the commission, and my only claim to fame is I live next to Mike. No, I'm just kidding. I work for the state of New Hampshire, so that's my claim to fame.
I'm Mike Pizzighi, and I'm not a part of the Conservation Commission. I just I make the agendas and
You
send
just
out,
do the work.
send out the materials and stuff.
Our official staff member.
Yeah.
Bob Maxwell, I think I've been on for 8 or 9 years. I was an engineer when I did drill work. Now I play with trees.
Gene Harrington, I've been on the commission something around 40 years. I can't remember exactly when I got on. I've been an environmentalist for longer than that. Now I'm a semi-retired businessman. So
Marge Bedoy, Chair. Various things, I'm a master gardener, I'm a real estate agent, I have a horticulture degree.
Deb Levins, I've known you since
I was bored.
you were born. Yeah. So, and I've been doing conservation since then too. So I'm right behind Jean at 35 years, I think.
somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, 1991.
All right, now down to business. 99 Rockingham Road is
We
up
don't get to
first.
introduce ourselves and our. We feel kind of left out here. I wonder how we started this when he was 10.
You want us just to present from here?
You can do here, you can do the other end, whatever.
You know, Mike, you want to bring up the plan? So my name's Tom Hewitt. I'm a land surveyor from S&H Land Services. I'm here with Kevin Landry, he's the property owner, and Tom Sokolowski, he's the wetland scientist from TES Environmental. I'm just going to basically tell you a really brief overview, and then I'm going to hand it over to Tom to go over the wetlands. It's basically about an 8.5 acre lot that they're looking to Kevin's looking to subdivide it into a 3.9 acre lot and about a 4.5 acre lot. The lot to the north is an existing gravel drive with an existing culvert under it, that we're going to have to redo that and basically maintain that crossing, so we need a wetland permit, and that's why we are here. And so Kevin can answer any questions about the land. It's been in his family since 1950s.
48, it was actually the 43rd house built in Londonderry.
Wow.
So his grandfather owned the house, and I'll hand it over to Tom first so he can talk about the wetland impact, and then we can answer any of your questions.
Great, thank you. My name's Tom Sokolowski. I'm a certified wetland scientist and a certified soil scientist, and I'm in that capacity for this project, both those capacities. I visited the site on July 2nd, met with Kevin. He showed me around the site a little bit and got a flavor for the wetlands and the drainage on the site, the soils, vegetation, and so forth, and the existing development is including that crossing that Tom Hewitt was just mentioning. And I delineated the wetlands at that time and checked the soil so I could prepare a high-intensity soil survey for the town as required under their development regulations. Essentially, the site's wetlands are almost entirely forested. There is a pond area just to the west of the existing house that's a bit more open, has some shrubby vegetation around it as well. Drainage through the site comes from the north and works its way to the south and then through a culvert in Rockingham Road just to the southwest of the existing house. The overall vegetative cover, as I said, is forest with deciduous trees being the dominant vegetative type, red maple being the most common tree. There's a large central area of upland that the existing gravel driveway on the northern lot, the proposed development lot, connects to. And that area is where the proposed duplex would be located. And I don't know if it would help if I get up and pointed to those areas for you to give you a sense of what the
Mike, do you have the wetland plan?
Yes.
That's probably going to show it the blow up better.
Will be.
with that.
Is it part of the
Yeah.
submittal? Okay.
it's towards the bottom, a little more.
This one.
There it is.
That's the lot that is proposed for the duplex. This is the existing crossing as it's overlaid by the proposed work that would involve replacement of an existing culvert in this area. The whole crossing is essentially gravel, fairly level coming off of Rockingham Road, a slight drop, and then proceeds out into this central area of upland. Wetland boundaries, as you can see, approach that area, come down through to the crossing, and then run back roughly parallel with Rockingham Road, and continues on the opposite side with wetland over most of this area and extending out towards the west part of this existing lot that has the existing house on it that's actually recently been taken down. The existing culvert in that location is a 12-inch corrugated metal pipe that is in considerable disrepair. It's corroded over the years. Its exact date of installation is not known, but this parcel was originally subdivided from a larger parent parcel that extends up and down Rockingham Road from here in 1952. And it makes sense that that culvert and that crossing were put in at roughly that time, perhaps even sooner, as there was some agricultural use prior to that, looking back on some aerial photos out there. And some of you people in town may know this land and the history of it a little better than I do even. But there was a field out through here, and it makes sense that some method of crossing to get to that might have existed. prior to that. What's being proposed is to replace the existing 12-inch culvert with an 18-inch plastic culvert, HDPE, with some riprap apron on the upper and lower parts. There is no stream channel through here. It's all overground flow that occurs occasionally. The existing 12-inch culvert has had no history of being a problem in terms of being sized too small or anything like that. So Peter Stoddard of Tom Hewitt's office did an analysis of the watershed and determined that an 18-inch culvert is more than adequate to meet current standards, requiring that the culvert not be exceeded in height by a design storm. And overall, the drainage pattern, as I mentioned, roughly from the north to the south through here, out and across above the house, and then down to Rockingham Road again in a culvert there. Wetlands out along the back, along the interstate, flow in that same general direction. And you may know that there's a stormwater basin that was recently constructed as part of the highway upgrades that have been done recently out to the south and west of this parcel. And you can see that pretty clearly on aerial photos. It's a fairly new basin, and it's just off the property here. As Tom mentioned, this is approximately an overall 8¼ acre parcel. The two lots are going to be divided roughly in half, for a little over 4 acres for the two of them. This one will be 4.4 acres. And what we need to do, as Peter Stoddard at SNH has talked with the Wetlands Bureau, is to put together a, not a expedited minimum, a permit by notification to retain the existing driveway and to replace the culvert, which is allowed for access to a residential lot, so long as it's not serving more than one residential lot. And that essentially is in process, and what we are looking for from you is your input and any information that you might have on this, and then hopefully to obtain your recommendation to approve the request for a permit by notification from the state. The state does look to the Conservation Commissions for that recommendation, and if you see fit, we would appreciate that at the end of the process here. So if you have any questions related to the parcel, to the wetlands, or the development that's proposed here, we're here to hopefully answer those questions.
I looked at this at home, and in my notes I wrote label buffer, but I can't see that well enough to remember why I wrote that. Do you have the wetland buffer?
It's not shown on this plan. I don't know, Tom, if it's on any of the other sheets.
It's the buildings. I don't know if you can see it here, man. But it's trimmed at the build. It's called the building setback, but that is the wetland buffer. I don't know if you can see that
Right here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tom
please.
can point over
And-
there.
And my second comment would be to make sure that the buffer signs are on there
Yep.
before
That's-
construction starts.
Right. Do you have, are there standards in the town, like to how far you've got to put them and all that?
Yes, was it 50 feet?
Every 50 feet.
And can we buy those at the town? or-
Yeah, the planning department has them.
Planning, okay,
Just ordered them, so I know they have them.
all right. Placard.
So is this the application that we need?
That's the one. And it is important that they go up before construction
For
starts.
construction.
Now, does this need to be signed by us, or just,
If it's a permit by notification, we don't have to sign,
okay,
but he might be looking for a recommendation.
It helps them
Yeah.
Yeah.
if we give it, it helps DES to.
I'm trying to figure out I'm trying to follow the setback line, which is and I can see where it goes up to the north of the house there, the proposed duplex. But there should be a buffer associated with the wetlands on the east side of the property, right?
It's there, it's hard to see. I don't know, Tom
Yes,
can point
if
it out.
it's, you're talking to the east side of the driveway, that would be here.
Right.
This is all wetland. This is the buffer here.
Right, associated with that.
Yep, and it runs up there, around to here, down to here. So
Awfully close to the house and the driveway.
it's impossible to avoid with the driveway because the driveway actually crosses the wetland. And the house is within that setback, but it's basically within the buffer or outside the buffer entirely.
So we like to ask if you will not do any, mark it so that they're not into the buffer when you're doing the construction, and it looks like it's gonna be really difficult.
What's your question, ma'am?
I'm asking how to keep the construction people out of the buffer.
Well, I'll be doing all the construction now.
We can stake it.
Yeah, it's not only gonna be staked, but it'll be completely socked all the way around. Tom is heavily wetland flagged the entire area.
Okay.
His flags are probably no more than 15 to 20 feet apart, all the way around the parcel. On both properties now.
I still. So here's an edge of wet, right?
Yes.
So this edge of wet has to have a buffer on it, as does this edge of wet.
They would overlap because this wetland boundary, wetland here, 50 feet from that would put it out into here.
Right,
And from
right.
this one, it would put it out into here. But essentially what we've done is shown the area that is not within the wetland buffer, and it's this area. But it would be, it wouldn't be accurate to put a buffer line in here to offset from this one, because that would be within a wetland.
In the existing driveway, that driveway is fully existing right now, and it's much higher than the wetlands. So I do believe back in the 50s, when that was put in or cut in. But that's ultimately about 8 feet higher than any of the wetlands, and that's certainly why the culvert, if the water does retain on the right side, would give it an excess versus backing up all the way up Rockingham Road. So that entire 200-foot driveway is actually fully existing. It's almost like a dirt road right now, actually.
So you're almost arguing that you want to grandfather that road, that that's an existing road that's in the wetland buffer. This road probably pre-exists the wetland ordinance, right?
We believe it goes back to when the subdivision originally occurred, which was 1952. The lots were then subsequently combined again by Kevin's grandfather, I believe.
If I could, just for clarification on that, so the two lots were separated back in the 50s, similar to what they are now, not exactly. In other words, this large 8.5 acre parcel was two lots, and Kevin's grandfather merged them at one point. So in an effect, he's trying to basically go back to a similar configuration when they were initially approved, just to clarify.
So is the second lot, the house on the second lot there, done, gonna be there, and no
They tore it
changes?
down.
Oh, that's what I thought he said, because we had such a nice picture of it on the plan.
We had to tear
Are you
down
gonna be
there.
building another house there then?
We're currently building, we're actually doing the same model,
Okay, side by side,
Um,
yeah.
but the house was infested. My grandfather passed at 100 years old, so I don't wanna get too much
Yeah.
in history, as it's very emotional.
Yeah.
But I grew up there since I was 3. My grandfather was a huge horticulturist, donated 175 acres of Groton, Mass, on a tree farm.
Oh, I know you. Yes, your grandfather was a fabulous man. I knew him
Thank you.
doing botanizing.
Yes, our whole life, that's how he raised me.
Okay.
So, the house was infested with termites and rot. When we started to remodel, we got the permits to remodel, I had to have a meeting with Bob, because none of the sill plates were actually sitting on the foundation, they were so rotted.
Yeah.
The walls were floating, and the ceilings were cracked, and I'm just very thankful that the house never collapsed on my grandparents.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So we determined, between me and structural engineer and the 2 building inspectors, that it was in the best interest to rip down the house. And we are rebuilding it with the same type of characteristics.
That explains everything.
Following up on some of the earlier comments though about the construction equipment in the buffer,
Yes, sir.
your well is well within the buffer. So when you dig a trench to get your piping, you're gonna have construction equipment digging in the buffer.
So we are currently talking to Manchester Waterworks about doing town water because it does run right by the property.
So then you're gonna try to run a water line from the road all the way along the driveway?
Along the driveway, sir.
And that driveway has the buffer right actually crossing it.
It does. The current road's about 25 feet wide. It is much higher.
Yeah.
And, you know, we want to do everything right. We're not looking to destroy anything. This property's been in my family for 80 years. I grew up here. You know, so we're not looking to disturb anything. We're not looking to wreck anything. We're just really looking to upgrade an existing road / driveway that me and my grandfather drove on since I was 3 years old. It actually, that whole road creates a loop to the existing house, down the driveway, and right back to 28. So we went back and forth with the wells. We feel that they both have pros and cons.
So, I think, did I hear you say that that driveway was 25 feet wide?
It's pretty wide.
Well, the plan says 12.
I think the top of it's 12, but it's sloped down, a 3-to-1 slope on both sides, maybe a 2-to-1. So when you look at the bottom of it, it's almost like a cone.
You've got a cross-section on the drawings in there somewhere.
There should be one in there too, if you can flip through.
Do you know anything about the construction of it? I mean,
It's lower,
is it, I know it's gravel on top, but what's the base, is it, when you put a water line through there, or how much sediment is gonna start moving?
We have not done, the only test pits we did were further up. We have not done any test pits anywhere near the 28 or anywhere along that driveway. I can tell you that at least once a week, I still drive it. And even with the rains, I don't sink at all. There's no mud going out onto 28. So I have to believe that it was probably done with a heavy gravelled material. But that's a complete assumption without doing a test pit.
I guess I'd have to argue that it's been around since 1953 without issue, so it's gotta be solidly
Yeah,
constructed.
you would think so.
So-
and,
for the-
But, how much of that will you preserve, and, how do you get it to look like the cross-section that you're proposing?
Are you asking me as far as a construction aspect?
Right.
So
Right.
we would-
Are
we
you
would-
gonna tear that existing driveway up, make it look exactly like
Well,
what
we
you?
would dig a trench, sir, approximately 3 feet. I would keep the excavator on the inside of 28, and I would dig parallel to 28. I wouldn't dig sideways, like put the machine off the edge and dig horizontally. I would bring the machine in on the road, keep the machine on the road, and dig parallel to 28. So as I dig, I would bail, swing around behind me. We wouldn't be putting any material in the wetlands. We're gonna silt sock and silt fence the entire thing, and the wood chips that we have, we're gonna dump in front of the silt sock as a double retention anywhere around the wetlands. But I wouldn't be putting the machine off the edge and digging from right to left. I would stay on that road and dig a minimal trench. The culvert is 18 inches, so our trench would be about approximately 36. And then the erosion stone would really be a cap to stop the flow or any fast flow, to restrict the flow, so that it doesn't erode wetlands in the event the pipe has discharge.
You mean if it overtops the road, is that what you're talking about?
Excuse me, sir?
You mean if it overtops the road?
No, I don't think it would ever overtops the road. I'm talking about when it comes through the culvert. Water erodes because of the volume. Stone will slow down the speed of the erosion by letting the water filter through the rocks so that it doesn't disturb any of the vegetation in the event that, let's assume we have 2 weeks of rain and it's just flowing through that culvert. The stone would slow it down before it hit the culvert and then certainly slow it down and as it exits the culvert. That's the point of the erosion stone.
So maybe I'm not listening right. This cross section here, it would apply anywhere along that driveway, right?
I can't see that. from
So,
outside.
so it would, but it would be any, so whoever's constructing it, Kevin, or any, what the plans would say, any unsuitable material would be removed and suitable material would be moved in. Doesn't mean they'd excavate down 8 feet out and take the whole driveway. If that's, I can't see the base, if it's an 8-inch base, then they would excavate 8 inches. If it was suitable material, they'd leave it. If it wasn't, they would replace it. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah.
So the cross-section shows a depth and material that needs to be there. So during construction,
Right.
if it meets a suitable material for the gravel, they would keep it. If not, they would have to replace it based on the plans.
So you just test as you go type thing?
I'm not an excavator, but something like that, yeah. The town would be involved with their inspections.
And the state permit certainly is gonna, as we look at the different stones in the gravel, that's right to the spec to support the culvert so that water doesn't undermine around the culvert and then all of a sudden the culvert's collapsing.
Okay, thank you. I think we probably have to show some deference here to the fact that this is a pre-existing driveway. And so we're gonna allow it to remain in the wetland buffer despite the fact that it's a new site plan. And we just have to admit that that is the case. But I would recommend we have include a plan if, should we decide to recommend approval here, that recommend comment that the plan should ensure that the driveway is constructed as shown on the plan throughout its length, which is, I think, what I just heard.
I think there's probably, can't see it, there's probably a note already on the right that says something to that effect, but if not, I'll make sure that's the case.
In the state wetlands approval, when that does come, would have that as a condition, that all work be done in accordance with the plan.
All right. I just don't wanna have the planning board or their engineers lose sight of the fact that this is a sensitive area, and we need to make sure that it's done exactly as the plan requires.
And what about bringing in a water line or putting in a well? That would be impacting wetland.
When are you gonna make that decision? When are you gonna make the call between the water line
So,
and the
yeah,
well?
I'll be 100% honest with you, we talked to Manchester Water Works, and they want me to come up with a $56,000 impact fee because it's 2 lots. If the lots are subdivided, we already have an existing well at the existing house. But because it's considered 1 lot, they look at it as 1 tax map, and they want me to pay them $56,000 before they'll even consider it, because it's an impact fee. Once it's subdivided, it goes to $13,000. Because they go off the lineal footage of 28.
All right.
I would say what we're proposing right now is with a well, just to be clear, I mean, that's what we're showing and what we've submitted.
Yeah, so
That
that-
doesn't preclude him from going to get a water line permit later, just so everyone's aware
Right.
of
I
that.
think then that you probably need to include a temporary impact as to the putting in the water line for and the construction of the well.
And would that be as part of the wetland permit or as a conditional use? Is it going into the wetland or just the buffer?
Because it's just the buffer, I don't think the state would have jurisdiction
Correct.
over that,
Yeah.
so that would
Yeah,
have to
so
be.
it'll be in the buffer, so that's a conditional use permit for construction within the buffer.
Yeah,
So if the well's, and there may be a way to move that well, I'll take a look at that, but so if the well's in there, you want us to, a conditional use permit for temporary construction in the buffer.
Right. And if you decide to go that route, I don't know that, we've pretty thoroughly discussed it, I don't know that you'd need to attend another meeting, we just need to do the paperwork.
That would be appreciated.
all right. So I just have to install the buffer signs prior to construction. The plan should show that the entire driveway is constructed as shown per the plan. Conditional use permit would be needed for a well in the buffer.
Right. Maybe we could say, refer to the cross sections, the entire driveway is constructed according to the cross section shown on the plan, so everybody knows what we're talking about. So cross section goes in front of shown on the plan.
And that is what that is, so that's just, if you read that, it's a typical cross-section, so that infers that the entire
Right.
has to be designed to that, so.
Especially if you do run a water line through there, you're gonna see it all.
Right, and then I need to email DES for that.
Well, you can email them, and there is a place where you can sign it here.
Oh,
Yep.
so then I wouldn't have to email if I did that.
Well, they still need to get a hold of a copy of the signature somehow.
Oh, well, don't they have to turn this in somewhere?
That's our copy of it.
Oh,
That's,
and
you
this
know,
says town clerk, it doesn't, oh no, right here.
yeah.
Assume
There's
you
been
had all
4
the
other
copies.
copies already
I delivered.
dispersed
that.
around
Yeah.
somewhere.
Oh, so this doesn't need my signature
So I delivered that packet to the state.
already?
So I think the procedure would be if you photocopied your signature on that page and emailed that to the Wetlands Bureau, they would have that
Alright.
on record.
Got it.
And that just speeds up how fast they look at it.
All right,
They get that signature, they look.
homework then.
Yeah. They get that signature, they look within 10 days, they don't get it, it might be 25 days.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, that works. We good?
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, have a good night.
Deb's got all her homies here
I do.
today.
Actually, my parents worked where Deb's husband's farmer, all the way when Sonny was there, so.
Good night.
Thank you.
What school do you teach at?
Huh?
What school do you teach at?
No, I'm an emergency room nurse.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. She's the teacher.
Am I listening?
I work at Boston Medical Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who's the teacher? Is there a teacher in here? or-
None of us are teachers.
Okay.
I used to be.
I guess I am a teacher.
I tried it and didn't like it, so,
Huh?
I said I tried it and didn't like it.
I
Student teaching was all I could do, and then, it's like, no, thank you.
I think that'd be a lot.
Yeah.
I think it would just be a lot.
My mother's Dawn, his one of his daughters.
Waiting for Deborah, we're gonna start.
I guess we can start,
Okay.
yeah.
Hi, my name is Jeff Bird, RJP Engineering, and I brought some handouts. Color ones.
Color makes it nice, yeah.
Yeah, well, it makes it easier to show what we're trying to do.
I'll leave one for them. Or actually, we can. Do we have enough for
Share.
everyone, or we can share? Deb and I can share.
So I think I heard some of the introductions, and some of you have been here for a while.
There's an
You
extra.
might,
Oh.
might recognize this project. because
Yeah.
This was here.
I had it, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. What's your problem?
We saw this back in 2017, and they actually got a permit, which is what it expired in 2023, and we want to renew, or we get another one at this point, with a different project. So, maybe I could go up to the screen. I was kind of old school, I brought paper plans on the board. I don't know,
Can't see anything.
things are changing, so. I'll just give you an overview. This is a property here, all the way around, and it's 12.2 acres, and with 470 feet of frontage on Litchfield Road. Mammoth Road is over here, and this is a signalized intersection. Little Cohas Brook comes through the northeast corner of the property and flows to the north, I guess. There are some interspersed wooded wetlands. This one here and this one, there's a little seasonal stream that comes down, there's a culvert under here. And this is the Pleasant View Cemetery, which we have this sliver of land right behind that. So back in 2017, this piece of property was subdivided off where it says previously approved lot out of the original tract. And well, as part of that, they proposed a sewer and water extension for sewer and water to the property, to the new lot, coming across from Mammoth Road, across this wetland, through and across this wetland into the buildable area right in there. So, now what they were proposing back then, I think, was a multifamily development in here.
I think
And
it
the
was over
zoning has
55.
since- What's that?
I think it was an over 55
Yeah.
development.
See, I don't know too much about that project. I know the zoning changed and it kind of, fell apart, and he has this lot, he can build on it now. But, he needs a sewer and water over there. To build that sewer and water, it's too expensive for one home. So, he's been trying to figure out what to do with this piece of property since the zoning change, and this is what we got. So what we're proposing is a 500-foot cul-de-sac road with 5 lots for duplex units, so there'd be 10 units in there. And we would utilize the sewer and water from Mammoth Road and come down and service these lots and also service the existing lot. So, I don't know if you can scroll to the wetland impact plan.
This one?
So what's the ownership arrangement gonna be then? Are these gonna be individually owned
Yes,
duplex?
yes. Yep.
So not condexes, but duplexes.
Duplexes, right. I sent you
I have a few things.
that plan right there.
Sorry, what wetlands impact you said?
Yes,
This one?
yes. So this plan basically shows, here's Mammoth Road, the turn it so north is up the page now. Litchfield Road across the top, and our new proposed road coming down here. And here's the water and the sewer coming, there's existing sewer right here that comes down, kind of follows Little Coalhouse Brook, and we're gonna tie into that sewer there. So we basically come down this hill and into the sewer here, and also with water, proposed water running parallel to it. So there's two wetland impacts. There's one here to get the main water to all these lots, and main water and sewer. And then there's one here to service this lot here. So, which was previously approved.
When you say previously approved, you mean that wetland impact was approved?
Yes, and these are both temporary impacts, so we're gonna dig it up, lay the mains, the sewer water, and put it back the way it is right now, so it'll look like nothing happened there when we're done, you know, practically. But, so, what I did here on this plan was, and it's not in the set, that's why I want this plan brought up, was I did hatch the buffers as well as the impacts themselves. The impacts are hatched with, you know, it's under 3,000 square feet of wetland impact in those two areas. But we are also impacting some of the buffer areas, you know, some wetland buffers here and here, and then on either side of the crossings. And then we have the Little Coalhouse Brook stream setback of 100 feet where we're in, you know, we're gonna be in that 100-foot setback there and a little bit up in here, so. The wetlands were reflagged by Luke Hurley last August. And it hasn't changed that much, and the impact is actually less than what it was before, so.
What is the impact? Or is it on here somewhere? Okay, I found it.
2664 square feet. And I summarized,
Oh, I was thinking about the buffer, but that's okay, it's there too.
yeah. So I know I do have the wetlands permit here, I could have made copies and passed that out, but, I know there were some conditions on that permit, you know, as far as reestablishing the impact areas to their natural state, you know, putting soils back in and planting them so that they revegetate to their natural state, and things like that, but, we'll follow those same conditions that they put in the permit before.
And that wetland permit is still in effect, or has it expired?
No, it expired 2 years ago, yes.
So you need to redo that?
Yes, we do. And I apologize, I don't have the application ready tonight, but I'll, you know, we're working on that now, we'll send it in. If I need to come back to talk to you about this again, I'm happy to do that.
So are we just doing a DRC right now, a design review?
Yes.
So could you clarify how many are temporary and which ones are permanent impacts?
There's no permanent impacts, they're both
Well,
temporary.
how about this drainage thing up here?
Yeah,
That's
the
like a
buffer
permanent
The
area.
impact.
basin looks pretty permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, as far as the buffer areas.
Yeah.
Well, I was,
Yeah.
well,
Right.
okay,
Um,
so that's like 28,000 square feet of buffer impact on the whole project,
that's right, that's right.
more than half an acre.
Close to an acre.
Most of it is grading for drainage improvements, to get the drainage to go to where it needs to go for the project, you know, through the detention pond, or, you know, in the back here, this is a drainage swale, that'll come down to the pond. In the back here, this is a drainage swale which comes around into the closed system and goes to the pond, and then the impact for the pond itself. So those areas, you know, whether they become lawn or and behind the buildings, but down here, you know, it's gonna grow back in, it's, you know, we gotta keep vegetation down on the detention basin berm itself, but, you know, it's not like we're not putting buildings in the setback.
Well, you can't.
Right, so, but I think this is an allowed use, or allowed, impact for drainage purposes.
But not trying to establish a lawn. Turf is not allowed in the buffer.
Okay,
So that entire area on the left-hand side of your plan there, that goes right up to the porch on one of those units,
And under it.
yeah, under that porch, that's not gonna be lawn. And in
Okay.
fact, you can't put the porch there.
yeah, I see that. I think this should have been rounded. In essence, then if you round that, you know, the 30-foot radius.
Not if we round it, if you round it.
Right.
And the same thing on the property across the street from
Right.
In the back end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
10 pounds of
Well,
flour.
This house can be, this building could be moved forward.
it. Yeah.
Actually, this one could be too. We could do that.
If you can shorten the drives, it helps.
Yeah.
Less to
Yeah, I don't know why this is so far back, actually. I think the building was turned this way originally, and for some reason we turned it back. I'm not sure, but that can slide up, and this can slide up too.
Just as a rule of thumb, we look for like, 10 or 15 feet of clearance behind a structure for construction equipment. Because you can't do construction in the buffer either, right? So if you're gonna get a large piece of machinery around the back to, install the patio supports, it needs, where's it gonna go? So
Right.
when you're moving things out of the way, you gotta move them out of the way, not just out of the buffer, but give it a little construction space there.
Okay.
There's no way to move that detention pond so it's less impact in the buffer? Because that's a pretty big impact, and that's Little Cohos Brook.
You know, I picked this project up secondhand, and what I was told, the project before this was much more dense, and that we were actually doing a lot less than what was proposed before, and was actually before you folks at that time. So I thought that we weren't in too bad a shape. I thought these were allowed disturbances in the buffer areas, so, but I can work on trying to minimize these to the extent possible, but that pond really needs to be in that corner at the bottom of the hill. Basically, this is the top of the hill, this is all going downhill, and that's where all the drainage wants to go. And it's going into the brook right now, so we wanna, slow the drainage down and treat it before it goes back into the brook.
What about salt and so forth in the wintertime?
Well, that's why we have the pond there
But it still goes into the brook.
to treat the water before it goes into the brook.
Yeah, but so what happens to,
How do you treat the chloride ions?
yeah.
And the project does need alteration of terrain permit, so we'll be going to DES and, for disturbances, and they'll be looking at that, and, we'll be treating this in accordance with their regulations.
Yeah, but this is one of our best, most important streams in the town.
Right, exactly.
So is there gonna be, HOA? Is this a private road or public?
It's private,
So there will be a homeowners association or something?
yes, yes.
So perhaps we could have some condition on that, not to use salt on their road?
Okay. We
That
can do
that would be a huge help.
I don't really understand. you've got water lines that look like they could almost serve as property bonds. So you got individual ownerships of each of those 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 units, right?
Mm-mm. If they're a duplex, there's only 5 owners. 1 owner for 2 units.
And then he rents it out?
Oh.
Or
No,
I think there could be 10
Or
owners.
sells
Yeah.
it?
So that's a condex then?
then
not
it's a
duplex.
condex.
Yeah.
Well, they're on their own lot, so the duplex is on lots.
Oh, okay,
It doesn't look like it.
Well-
It looks like,
you're right.
There's a lot line
You
here,
can see it on this
Here.
page.
here, here. There's 5 lots,
Yeah,
10 units.
but if you are trying to divide the duplex to have 2 owners, you have to have a lot line between the 2 units. So
Right.
that makes it a condex, and you've got 10 lots, not 5.
Well, you can have a condex on 1 lot.
Well,
Right.
you still have the building somewhere in there, there's a division.
I mean, the way the plan
That's
is
common.
drawn and the way the application reads, it's a 5-lot subdivision.
Yeah.
And one of those in each duplex is a renter or a large family
Yeah.
that's split out
The kids.
into both units.
It may be different in Mass. My son lived in a property where they owned, each owner shared the lot. And it was complicated because if the building needed a roof and one owner wanted it, the other one couldn't afford it, it was a mess.
Yeah.
But yeah, he basically owned the walls he lived in and he shared the property with the other owner. He shared the lot with the other owner.
Does that sound like a condex?
A
or-
condex.
That's what
Each
we call a
unit is
condex.
its own
Yeah.
condo, so a condo.
Yeah.
And you have condo docs and
Right.
whatever, and shared expenses. But yet they're owned separately.
Hmm.
And if you heard us mention on the earlier project, there's the wetlands buffer signs that need to go in before construction starts.
Okay.
And that's where you're gonna find a lot of fun trying to create your drainage swales that are in the buffer. Because the machinery is not allowed in there then, except by conditional use permit.
Well, I mean, this is gonna have to have a conditional use
Yeah,
permit.
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
But I mean, in all fairness to the applicant, you know, he's here soliciting input and, you know, my input would be, don't waste money designing this, doing a conditional use permit on this design, because to me, I would recommend
Not approved.
I would recommend the planning board not approve this. The Little Cohos is, that and Beaverbrook are our 2 all-stars in Londonderry. And they have a 100-foot buffer for a reason, and just, you know, dumping dissolved salt in there that close is just not a really good idea. You know, there needs to be to figure out a way to do this without violating, especially that buffer on the Little Cohos.
What was it?
It was over 55.
How many units?
Have you
I can't
given any
remember, but I
thought
bet I have
to what you're gonna
copies.
do with
It was a lot
the
bigger.
leg of the land that comes out behind the cemetery there? Is that just gonna be a large ownership area for?
You know, I was thinking,
Buildings with like garden
maybe the
style.
cemetery,
Mhm.
the town would be
Multi-floor,
interested in
yeah.
that, to expand their cemetery.
Yeah, well, might be hard to get to, I think it's wet
Yeah,
between,
they haven't been able to do that.
have they tried?
To expand the cemetery, yeah, they weren't able to do it because it's wet.
Flip back to the overview. This is all dry in here. There's wetland back here, but they could expand out to the edge of the buffers on those. I don't know, otherwise it's part of this lot right here, lot 2, you know, part of the finger. And we looked at, you know, can we get one more unit in there? But it's really, you know, I mean, you're really trying to cram it in then. You'd have to cross the wetlands with the driveway.
Fairly wide one too.
Right, right.
So we will see this again. When,
If they have a conditional use.
and the re-up of the wetlands and,
Mm-hmm.
application.
I know you're against the pond being in the buffer area, but it is allowed, if I'm correct, and if you read the regulations.
Right, you can have a.
Reestablishment of grades for
drainage.
drainage facilities is allowed. So, it's where it needs to go, you know, it's, like I said, it's at the bottom of the hill, and the drainage is going down into the brook. So I don't know what else you could do with drainage, you know, it flows downhill.
If you took the property out on lot one, you could put it where that property sits.
Or move the road so that you're further east on Litchfield, where you meet it. So it leaves you, it lets you put that drainage pond in and still back it up away from the brook some more.
Further east or further
Oh,
west?
further west.
Further
Further
west, yeah.
west, right, yep, sorry, west.
It's probably only a 50-foot buffer on the wetland there to the,
This one here.
yeah.
Probably, it may be dependent on the topography of it.
Yeah.
It does a little bit, because this is going uphill, this way, you know. This is really, there was an old farmhouse in here, which has since been taken down,
Yeah.
and,
And a junkyard.
And-
Yeah.
basically putting the road where the existing driveway is right now.
That's why I'm suggesting, you know, if you think about moving the road just a little bit, you can pull
Yeah,
The
that would
drainage.
solve the problem.
it away from the brook.
Yeah. I can work on that, but if we can't get it out all the way, you know, we'll give it our best shot.
Yeah, and you'll still do the application for the impact on the buffer,
Mhm.
conditional use. And it
Right.
might be good enough that, you know, at least it passes.
Yeah, I would encourage you to, you know, explore the possibility of, if you don't need that acreage back there for meeting any of your other requirements, which doesn't seem like you should, then, you know, talking to the cemetery trustees and seeing if they would have an interest in doing a lot line adjustment with you, might make some sense, and I think it'd be fair to count that as mitigation toward whatever impacts you can't avoid to
Okay,
the buffer.
okay. Yeah, I mean, it's basically useless land to him. I mean, I showed him a concept with the house back here and the driveway going through the cemetery, and very
Where's
much
the
likes that idea. So I don't think that's gonna happen.
This is the edge of it.
Oh, okay.
Because that is
I was not
a
looking
right
there.
away.
So we're not seeing the whole lot, there's like a long tail that comes up here, the center's here.
Well, that would help the cemetery too, if you could transfer that as well, that rate. I guess it's, yeah.
Well, it's something we talked about. We haven't talked to anybody at the town about that, but we certainly will, especially if you see that as mitigation, you know, of some sort.
I think it clearly could be mitigating, yeah.
Oh, I know. I just had to get my head turned around the right direction. Now I know
Get
where.
that out of the buffer.
Yeah.
It's much closer than it looks in real life.
It's where the pond was on the multifamily, and that's why I didn't think it was a big issue. You know, like I said, I'm picking up this project from Brown Engineering, and that's where he had the pond with the multifamily. I thought that had already been through the town process. I know it didn't get approved, but, this lot was approved, subdividing that lot. I know that the multifamily development wasn't approved, but that was, and that was so much more denser than this, this plan with ponds and the buffer, and you know, it's funny, you go to different towns and they all have different opinions about what you can and can't do, and, you know, you never know what you're quite heading into.
All right, so I have, you'll need a conditional use permit. We recommend reducing the buffer impact created by the detention pond, and the buffer signs need to be installed prior to construction.
And we'll try to move the houses.
Pull the houses away from the buffer.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, on lot 4 and lot 2, even if they could shorten the driveways 20 feet would make a big difference. So, because there's no mowing allowed in the buffer, so if the buffer comes right up to the back of the porches, they're basically going to be looking
Weeds.
at weeds right off their back deck.
So
15
tell me
feet.
the lot numbers again.
It's lot
Yeah, well,
4
50
and
foot
lot
is- the
2.
problem is human
Okay.
nature says, I wanna look at a yard
Yeah.
off of my deck.
Right.
And they will. And, I mean, we have seen it time and time again. People will just, you know, start mowing, which they can do, they can mow, but then they're gonna start throwing down grass seed, which they cannot do. So
And
that's.
fertilizers, which are even
Yeah,
worse.
and, even worse fertilizer.
And they're gonna put a garden back there off the edge of the deck.
And the buffer signs disappear.
So that's why we want we want you to provide them some kind of backyard outside of the buffer.
Yeah, yeah.
I can remember talking about this like 20 years ago.
It isn't that long, 'cause I was.
No, not this project, no, the concept.
Oh, yeah.
It is still here. We need to give them their natural inclination to make a garden, a vegetable garden if they want one, or just mow, or if they want to put
Everybody likes
stairs
green, yeah.
off of their back patio, and then they can't put stairs because the patio is technically in the buffer, and they can't put stairs. We've seen that one too. So even just 20 feet, just something, so they can have their little space behind their house, and they can maintain it and be in compliance with the rules instead of breaking them, essentially. And then they come here and we have to tell them that they're breaking the rules and they actually can't put anything there, and everyone's very disappointed.
And
So,
they
but the
blame-
driveways look long, so.
And they blame the real estate agent for not telling them.
They do, for not disclosing, so, but the driveways are long, so you can maybe save some money on asphalt and all of that too, just shortening them up a little bit and giving them a little space behind their back decks, so they can sit out there and look upon their majestic lawn.
Right, right.
So they would have to have somebody to plow the road too, right?
Yeah.
Good,
Okay.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right.
You wanna take these back with you?
I wrote all over mine.
Me too. Yeah, I'd like to keep them. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I want to talk about Musquash Field Day. We were talking about it last time and picked Saturday, the 15th. It's got to be on hold until the end of the week because we finally are going to start construction on the Hickory Hill parking lot.
Yes.
And chances are it'll be that week. So we've been able to work with or Eversource when they were doing lines or something else before, and they just stopped the work for that day, and we were fine. So I'm hoping that we can just do the same thing, but John Trotter is gonna have a chat with them on Thursday, so I'll know more after that.
I guess I won't put it on the Facebook page.
Yeah, just wait till
Just
Friday.
let me know, let me know.
And, because I haven't even contacted the mountain bikers, because I didn't want to say come and then say cancel them.
So are they the star attraction?
That's the only thing I can come up with. And if we go like we're not gonna have any snow, so.
It's not looking good.
Yeah, any kind of snow toys are not gonna be,
Animal ski touring is out.
right? Although my neighbor was doing it this week.
Right, bring the
Let's,
horses. Maybe
converse
someone will
about
die.
that when we know more.
Yeah. So, like I said, that's on hold.
I could have sworn I saw a set of agenda that had the financials on it. Maybe I just dreamt that I
I
saw.
don't know if I put it on there, but I have it here.
Okay, oh, that's probably where, oh,
I mean, it's not on the agenda. I have what you sent me.
okay, good, because I left my copy at home.
Okay.
Do you, I brought
I
this one.
think I sent you a note, we're gonna probably need more firewood out there.
Yes, and I forgot that, but, if we're having Musquash Field Day, then yeah, we should find a way to get some firewood out there. I don't know.
Is Glenn not available, or?
Oh, I imagine he will be,
Okay.
but he usually has to borrow a trailer to get.
Yeah,
his
so he'll need some
somebody-
heads up.
Yeah, which I think that's what we did last year. We just, a couple days before or something.
I'm not sure how it got out there, we had a fair bit of firewood.
Last year, it was basically left over from the year before.
Was it really?
Yeah, and the year before, it was the stuff that I brought. and
Oh,
threw
and then
into-
didn't you
into
find
Glenn's trailer.
some out there? Or cut some?
That,
Little
We had the
hutch?
leftover from 2 years
the
ago.
little hut is about half to 2/3 full of just round branches and stuff.
Oh.
I cut up a couple years ago, but we had some
Okay.
legit firewood that we burned last year
Right.
that got out there somehow.
All right, I'll make sure I don't forget it.
I mean, the stuff that's in there should be dry, but it's not split wood, it's
Yeah,
just round branches cut up.
all right, you wanna do your
Sure.
financials?
Not too much has happened. Okay, we have like 3 accounts, one of which is a management account that we've had put money in to do certain not conservation things that aren't necessarily to do with recreation. What's happening?
It's
We're
updated.
going through the whole Microsoft suite of options.
Oh, it could very well be, anything I touch on a computer is
There you
just.
go.
So, I don't know, it's gotta be smaller somehow. Mine's all on one page, so I don't know how.
I don't know why it's all in 7 different.
Long and short of it looks like we have around a little over $100,000 in that particular account.
I can't change anything because it's
Broken up in a.
Okay, so just
Multiple
keep
sheets.
going down and I'll do my best to tell the story.
I can't change anything really because it wants me to log in because I don't have a key. I can't change anything.
Just keep going down. Okay, that's what that is.
And
Maybe we can shrink on the far right, you can change the zoom down.
can I?
or down.
Yeah, will that crunch over?
There you
It
go.
doesn't. Oh, that's
I don't know
not
if we
better.
can get it on. Oh, boy.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
not
know.
cooperating.
Perhaps next week.
It knows we're not
Okay, and the long and short is we've spent about a third of our budget of $3,200. We have until June 30th to spend the rest of it. It goes for dues and certain things like that. Our Open Space Protection Fund gets the money from the land use change tax, and it's not been abundant this year. We're about $18,000 in change that has come in for that, and that will all go to, the total will go to us until it gets up to 100,000. It's about $625,000 available monies.
Okay.
None of that's earmarked right now, right?
Not to my knowledge. And my question is, on the same topic but different money, what's happened to the funding from
Gilchrist?
Gilchrist?
And what happened to 13 Parmenter and what happened to Southgate?
Oh, I think I know.
I could tell you about those two.
Oh.
The deeds went to Kirsten to be forwarded to the
Attorney?
but I don't think it's happened yet because she's been too busy being the town manager, which I
Yes.
have a lot of sympathy
Is
for.
that,
Yeah.
is her hands full? These are properties, one we're purchasing and one is a gift.
No, the
Both.
13 Parmenter and Southgate are both gifts.
They're both gifts.
One is just that little corner lot that somebody doesn't want to deal with anymore, and the other is part of a subdivision that
Okay, that one, yeah.
they're gifting us the wetland part
Okay.
to do protection. 35 Gilchrist has been very popular in the last 2 weeks. A lot of
Complaints?
Well, as soon as it's been cleared, it's been clear cut right down to the ground.
Right.
So everybody calling, texting, emailing me, did we get our money? Why are they starting to work? So I drove down there and they technically have not dug.
I broke the surface.
Correct. So they are still within the conservation restrictions.
But there are clouds of dust down there.
Yeah, they have excavated a whole bunch of material and moved it around on site.
There's a pile in the back corner that's gotta be 30 feet high.
There's a pile that looks like it's combination of slash and surface soil. But the dust flying around, that was a concern to some people because they say, isn't that polluted soil? Shouldn't that be? I don't understand why they're doing it if we haven't closed on the property.
I don't either.
I don't understand who allowed that, and people have met with Art Salidas and somebody else together. Can't remember who. Oh, maybe John Trouty or something. And we're told it's a legal matter. We can't discuss it.
Nobody wants to talk about anything anymore, do they?
No, it's.
Well, we should bear in mind that town meeting warrant provided for the release of those restrictions if and only if another
Suitable.
conservation
Yeah. Yes.
parcel of equal
Equal
or
or
greater
better.
conservation value could be identified. And to my knowledge, that has not happened. I don't know that anybody has put forward a parcel, and therefore, we don't really know what the amount of money is that they owe us.
Well,
It isn't necessarily $750,000. At that town meeting, I made a point of having Mike Malaguti go on record as saying that may not necessarily be the number. It could be greater than that, depending on the cost of the
people are
parcel.
going by the warrant article that says 750,000.
Right.
And
And
that's,
they certainly free to read that, but if you look at the language carefully, I'm not sure that you can make the case that it's gonna be 750, but it could be, it can't be less. And, we should keep in mind that we paid, I think about 1.2 million for those restrictions on that parcel.
Mhm.
It was a deal for like 2.4 million with the owner of the entire property.
Right.
Devon's and Associated Lands. But the easement deed was broken out separately in a contract.
Mhm.
So we know what the value of those restrictions were at the time that they were put in place. It was well more than $750,000.
Yeah, and a lot of people have voiced the concern that they think all the money from that sale should be coming to the conservation, because when that was voted by warrant article to pay the money, people were told it was for conservation.
Right.
So
Right.
there's a lot of people upset about that transaction. But I went back through
So
our
who
our
won't talk
records.
to, who won't talk to us?
I don't know who to ask.
Go to Art Salidas.
Well,
He may not know
Art-
the answer
well,
because,
he's the one that said it's legal and can't discuss it, but I can try, but.
I just don't think that's right. There's
I
something,
know,
there's something wrong
something
here.
wrong,
and-
definitely. I know. And I don't understand
Well, we
how
could ask-
they're clearing the property.
Well, we could ask Jason if any money has come in.
It hasn't.
Has not,
It
to
hasn't.
my knowledge.
That much we have the answer for. That's who was in the meeting with Art Salinas.
Yeah, well then, perhaps the reason is because they're trying to get their Ts crossed and their Is dotted.
Well, can't you at least get some kind of assurance, a confidential assurance that we're
Well-
moving in the right direction? This is a big responsibility we have. It is our
Well,
taking
and-
care of the land and Londonderry thing.
Well, exactly, and it seems by all contracts involved, we are an integral part of this transaction, but yet we've been completely excluded from any kind of information.
I know that Mike Malaguti informally told me that the money should be coming in soon. I think it was at a meeting that you were at too.
Exactly,
And that soon was something he said in,
a couple months ago.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, a couple months ago, I had a
November.
conversation with him too, just casually, well, do you know any properties that we want to conserve, we need to conserve? And I said, actually, off the top of my head, no. Not for what we have, not for what I was just thinking about what was in the bank. But I don't think they have to tell you all the legalities, but I think they owe us, or you
Some
as
sort of
chair,
update.
some sort of update.
Yeah.
And I wish,
Yeah.
Right?
Have you actually had a face-to-face with, or even a phone conversation with Art?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so that would probably be the first step, just ask for that.
Yep.
I mean, there very well may be good reasons why they have to be careful, but I think that they should be able to take at least the chair into their confidence to explain what's going on.
exactly.
Yeah, because I did go back and look through our minutes, and we voted to approve the contract on June 13th of 2023.
Yeah.
Which I didn't remember doing, but we did.
So is the surface dirt there not part of the problem?
I believe so. I
'Cause-
mean, that's part of the concern.
Yeah, and I went by there 2 days ago and it was a sandstorm, it was a brown
Was
cloud.
it?
Yeah, it's pretty windy.
Oh, yeah, last week with the wind.
And the whole north end of that parcel, there's gotta be at least 2 acres. That's bare.
Oh, the whole thing's
Well,
bare.
No, I'm saying bare, I mean, not even
Well, there was some
any duff or
grass.
anything left.
There's nothing,
Oh.
it's dirt.
It's dirt.
So they've really done more than they were
There's
supposed to do.
not a stick or a twig, there's dirt and
Yeah.
rocks.
Yeah, there's just rocks and, you know.
A week or 10 days ago, when they first started cutting, very shortly after they hadn't cut most of it yet, they had the machine in there chopping the bittersweet down.
And what did
there
they
was-
do with that bittersweet?
There was an engineering truck, some sort of a environmental engineering truck parked out on the road, and there was a guy in there with a little cart, a kid's yard cart, pulling stuff along and taking some small samples out there.
Ah.
Well, there's a well out there. And they're back into the Nevins. They're there all, I would say all the time, but it's really probably like every 3 months. But there's something going on, and they check it. I mean, I don't think they find anything, but
Well, no, this was out where they are now, got it all the duff layer is gone. It's down to bare dirt.
it's into the orchard part, or into the field, in closer to Nevins.
It's
than-
all the way to the property line that they were
Yeah.
trying to.
Yeah, okay, so
It's
that's
right
where
there.
there's a well. I think there's a test well out there.
There are test wells in the Nevins. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a test well behind your
yeah,
property.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but this is all the way right to the border of Gilchrist Road.
Yeah.
You know, this is not in by the Nevins, this is on the other side of it.
Well, that's not. I was just thinking that I think there is a well. There used to be
A
a
monitoring
well.
well, yeah.
It's associated with the sewer fund site.
Mhm.
That-
Yeah.
That they didn't know how far it was going
Yeah.
and.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have a clarifying question here, just to make sure I understand what's going on. So my understanding with the warrant article was that in exchange for construction starting on this property, that A, like another conservation property should be identified, and B, that we should receive funding toward that property, the amount to be determined depending on how much that property cost. And that was to occur before construction began on the Gilchrist property. Is that correct?
That's what we thought.
That's what we thought, but I'm not sure that ever got put in writing
Okay, all right.
specifically.
And it's possible that the argument now is that they are not starting construction, they are only clearing a lot and doing other work on it. Like, we would assume that that's the argument, whether or not we
Perhaps,
believe it.
Something like that.
But, I mean,
Okay.
one way would be to see if there's an intent to cut. I mean, there's only two
Oh.
reasons, right? Either you're doing forestry, or you're clearing for a site. So, if it's the former, then it should be an intent to cut.
Yeah.
And if it's the latter, then you're in construction, regardless of how far the roots are sticking up.
Which would be a violation of the easement.
And without an intent to cut, there's a violation there, I think, too.
Right, I think it's big enough, like, to have to do that. I mean, you could frame it, if you talk to Art, as a compliance issue and say that we're concerned about
Yeah.
compliance. And, I mean, I'm certainly concerned about compliance. Like, it seems to
I
me
think
that
a lot
they've
of people are,
started
because they're calling me.
construction, and if they have another argument, I'd sure love to hear it, but this is a very, very public-facing property, and also was a sort of big to-do. Even when it passed, it was very controversial, so we should be keeping everything as in the sunlight as possible.
Where is this on Gilchrist? Sorry, is this further down where
Behind
It
Home
was the
Depot.
Past Home
orchard they
Depot.
managed a long time ago.
the old orchard all the way
Yeah.
down where Home Depot
Yeah.
is to the left of
Yeah.
it, if you're looking at it straight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really overgrown with bittersweet, and I would
I
also
haven't
wonder
even
where
been
that
down there.
bittersweet went.
That's what.
Well,
my
that's a
question
bad
is.
thing, too.
There was so much of it there.
We should take a look at the deed that we approved in 2023 and see.
The purchase and
exactly- see what that says. That's a good place to start.
Right.
You have that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, is it something you can PDF?
Yep.
Do you mind?
Yep.
We could take a look at that. Like, my position would be that it sounds like what they're doing, that, to me, that would
Getting ready for
constitute
construction.
construction, essentially, like, and if they have a creative argument
Site
that it's
clearing,
not, I'd
yeah.
love to hear it, but my position would be that it appears that they have begun construction, which I would personally believe is in violation of the
And then
town
what
warrant
happens?
article, what we agreed. Well, I guess they'll know we're displeased. Maybe not much else, but they'll know we're mad as
Cease
a
and
wet
desist.
hen.
Is it the 2023 town meeting that approved that? Or
No, it's gotta be longer ago than that.
22, maybe.
I think so.
Yeah, though, that should be easy to find.
Oh, the warrant article?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have had to been, well, no, it could have been 23, because it would have been March of 23.
That's
We
just 2
signed the
years
purchase and
ago.
sale in
It's
June.
just 2 years ago,
I
though.
think
It seems-
23, but I could be wrong. So
Yeah.
I distinctly remember voting on it, but I guess that could have been 22, but I would
I-
guess 23.
Yeah.
It just seems
2
like
years.
it's not enough time.
Yeah.
It's looking at the site, I think the entire thing has been cleared, it's 23 acres. I
Oh,
would-
yeah,
I would say the
it's-
field's every bit of that.
Yeah.
They've even got lines of stakes with different colored flagging,
Well, see,
Going-
that's been added since I've been there.
different parcels.
You might point out, if you talk to anybody, that they're probably in violation of how they disposed of the bittersweet, too.
Mhm.
Not that there's anything, anybody's gonna do anything about it.
Right,
but-
we can't prove it. Yeah, so that was a hot topic for the last couple of weeks. Just letting you know, it's time to write the annual report. So any tidbits you feel like telling me that I should include would be appreciated. And then, I already told you, I do have a whole nother case of maps.
Great.
So,
I think all the boardwalk improvements and stuff should certainly be part of it.
oh yeah?
They did a
Yep,
nice job.
They did.
And, can we speak about the boat dock, too? As far as,
It's put it in the annual report, or
Yes.
talk about it here?
put it in the annual report.
Well,
Well, we need to,
we need to.
We
we need to
have,
meet with that guy. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be gone for most of the rest of the month.
Okay,
So it'll have to be after, unless, I mean, you could talk to him if you want. I mean, the two things are, number one, it's a different configuration, which I think you've got to show him. And number two, is he willing to sign our permit? Because we can't file it with the state, with the registry until he signs that. He has to sign that he will do the construction in accordance with the terms of the permit.
okay, so I need the installer to sign the permit, but the change in configuration probably needs to go with the sales guy.
Yeah, I mean, you know those guys better than I do about
Yeah,
that.
I have- I have the installer, but I'm gonna have to go deep into my emails to find the sales guy. Oh, I have it, I know, because I have all my emails.
And I don't know what dock guys do in the winter. So,
They go to boat shows.
yeah.
Oh, there was one yesterday, I think.
I know, I keep getting emails telling me which boat show they're at.
Gone to the boat show.
Yeah. Anything else you can think of? That's all I have.
The, Southgate's the one down on South Road, right?
Correct.
Yeah, just the quick observation the other day when I was going down South Road, I go, why are there 4 vehicles parked right there on the side of a property I call Bass Pond,
Mm.
which is
Yeah.
not Southgate, it's just beyond it.
Yeah.
But there are 4 vehicles parked there, and it's like, it's not hunting season. I don't think the ice is thick enough to go in there fishing, plus 4 people at once. Oh, and I came back by, they were all out playing hockey on the beaver pond there.
Oh.
Are you kidding?
So it was like, we're used to the area that we're going to get
Oh.
protect.
Well, and another call I had was requesting that we put some sort of trail into, I always call it the turtle sanctuary,
Mhm.
because where we lost that dirt road to those houses that were built,
Yeah.
there's not an easy way in there. I don't know if that's,
There's a way in there, it's not the easiest, yeah. There's a couple people that have been in and out of there.
yeah.
I haven't tried to follow their path, but there have been a few vehicles parked in,
Like going in there somehow.
well, they're been parked in the same spots, and I've seen them a couple times going in and out of the woods, so. And it's in the same exact spot they're going in and out, so, it's-
Yeah,
yeah,
well-
they've created a trail.
We can maybe expand on that at some point if we want to provide access in there.
Except that we gotta get permission from the state, because that's DOT land.
Okay, that's all set. Because they're wondering, why haven't we done anything? So
Oh.
that's my answer. It's
don't
not
know.
ours, it's not ours. Which I knew on the other side, coming off of
Gilchrist.
Gilchrist, that the reason that's not developed is it's not ours. I knew that one. So. Minutes?
I didn't see anything. Could hardly remember the meeting, but
I know, well, I know, we had a long break there.
quite long.
Bill Gates is here to help.
It's on to us. We don't even have a license copy.
There.
Yeah, I did not have any issues with it.
I almost printed a copy, but I didn't.
Ooh, we lost our heat.
I know, I'm getting colder and colder.
I tried turning it up, but it would just go back down to when.
Well, yeah, I think it hits a certain time and then it's,
Yeah.
we'll talk fast.
There's a message. Go home.
Right.
I'll move we approve the minutes. What's the date on that one?
I know, how long ago?
November 26th.
Wow.
I was younger then.
I've had 2 vacations since then. Well, not real vacations, but sort of.
As
vacations.
presented.
2 holidays.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion passed. And that's,
I'll move we adjourn.
That was our
I'll
last
second.
meeting.
okay.
You were right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
I